on this computer. All right, everybody. So just to repeat, I'm going to record this how to do a plant-based diet and lose weight. My name is Nancy Matthews. I'm a certified health coach and certified cooking instructor. I have also earned my certificate in plant-based nutrition from the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutritional Studies out of Cornell University. And I started my plant-based journey on March 1st, 2012 after watching the documentary Forks Over Knives. If you have Netflix, you should watch the documentary Forks Over Knives. The documentary Forks Over Knives was created and centered around the studies of the China study. Dr. T. Colin Campbell, a biochemist, went to China and studied the Chinese for over 30 years on their nutrition. And the findings were absolutely profound. In their research, they found that dairy contains a protein called casein protein. That casein protein turns on the cancer gene. Yes, so I'm going to say that again. It will turn on the cancer gene. So I'll back up a little bit. Back in the 1950s, y'all remember, maybe you're too young, George McGovern. Well, you can Google George McGovern's, I think he might have been a congressman back then, but there was a study done by the government that proved that the meat and dairy were detrimental to human health. But because lobbyists and big pharma and big dairy and the meat industry were all in cahoots, they buried the study so far into red tape, it never really became public. But through the I can't think of the act, but the Information Act, it was found. And so that's just a little tidbit. But when you watch Forks Over Knives, you learn that by removing meat and dairy from your lifestyle, you can actually reverse disease. So for myself, I started my journey at 265 pounds. I've lost about 107 so far. I'm still losing. But the most important thing with a lifestyle like this, with a plant-based lifestyle, is you heal from the inside out. When you remove the meat, which is very acidic, and it's a pure fat, and it has pure cholesterol. Not to mention, when you eat a beef, like when you're eating a hamburger, you have what's called bioaccumulative junk. So all the garbage that the cattle is fed from their, like say, if other animals die and they go to rendering, and they'll use dead animals and they'll feed that dead animals to chicken feed. Pesticides, chemicals, herbicides, all of that is stored in the flesh of the say the Hereford or the Black Angus cattle, and then that comes to us. So we're eating whatever the cow ate, the garbage, and then it's coming to us, and then our body doesn't know what to do with it, so it stores all those chemicals and phytoestrogens and all that stuff is in our fat layer, and it makes us chronically ill. And then, of course, the cholesterol causes heart disease, obesity, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and so on and so forth, so much more. So I'll have more nutritional classes in the future, but I highly recommend everybody watch the documentary Forks Over Knives on Netflix. I think it's even on Amazon Prime. And that will get you really thinking about everything. And then another good documentary is called What the Health? And it will give you another aspect into the plant-based lifestyle. And then the third documentary I recommend you watch is called Plant Pure Nation, and that is actually free on YouTube. So again, that's Plant Pure Nation. So my journey led me to losing weight. My cholesterol was 265, and I lowered it to below 145 on a whole food plant-based lifestyle without the use of statins. I had severe polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I had to take metformin for that, which is, if you've ever heard of metformin, it's also used for people with the metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes, and it just destroys your stomach. It's awful. So I was taking that, and then I was on 3 types of rosacea medication. My face looked like a tomato, and I had severe acne. And then I had severe eczema, and I was on eczema medication. I had allergies so bad and asthma. I was on inhalers, rescue inhalers, Flonase and Claritin D. And then in April and October, I would get Kenalog shots every year. So I was a hot mess. And then, not to mention, I had fatty liver syndrome. So the fatty liver syndrome, I was borderline. My doctor was about to give me medication for that. And then all of a sudden, a miracle happened, and I was on Facebook, and I saw something go across Facebook on my Facebook feed that was about forks over knives. And I was like, hey, well, that's interesting. I'm just going to read it or watch it. So my husband and I watched it, and I literally sat there, and my world spun on its axis, because you see, I lost my dad to cancer, and I've lost my mom to cancer, but both my mom and dad had arthritis. My dad had his first major heart attack at 47 years of age. He had lost 25% of his heart muscle, so he became a cardiac cripple. And so that changed the whole dynamic of our family. We used to water ski and all kinds of fun stuff. And so he became a cardiac, he couldn't do things to really increase his heart rate. So, just change things. But then he ended up having open heart surgery at 58 years of age and 62 years of age, and then died of carcinoid cancer that spread to his liver at 76 years of age. My mom had advanced chronic rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, and she was a breast cancer survivor. At 76 years of age, she developed interductal carcinoma, and 4 of her 5 sisters all have had the same type of cancer. So I'm a high-risk breast cancer. I have a contrast MRI every year. So I was just like, I have got to change my life. So I watched Forks Over Knives, and I was absolutely enthralled with the information that was provided in the documentary that was based on the China study. Again, so this China study book, it's pretty thick, it's pretty texty, but this is the most important book you would ever read in your entire life. This should be mandatory reading in every high school, every college, by every doctor, everywhere. So this is what got me into my health journey, and I'm on no medication now, absolutely none. I take none. I've ran 2 half marathons. I'll be 57 years old in January. All of my chronic disease are gone. It's gone, and my body released the weight. And I'm here talking with all of you because I decided to share this truth with the world. I feel it's God spoke to me, and I need to help as many people as I possibly can, because we all have our own little worlds, our own little universe, and maybe you will never hear the truth because sadly, our medical doctors don't get more than 30 to 40 hours of nutritional education. And sadly, when they're in medical school, Big Pharma is funding the majority of studies and meals and meet and greets. And so the doctor has 15 minutes to spend with you, and they usually pull out their prescription pad out of the pocket and write you a pill. And so what we need to work towards is lifestyle medicine. Lifestyle medicine is where it's at. So what do we do? Like they say, I was the type of person that said, well, I've got terrible family history. My grandfather died of a heart attack and, blah, blah, blah. My dad's disease. So I'm just doomed. I was ready to die in my 70s or even 60s. And then I watched Forks Over Knives, and I was like, wait, I can change this. So there's a saying that says, genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. So if we can change our lifestyle and change our mindset about nutrition, we can literally reverse disease. We can prevent disease. And I want to say that again, we can prevent disease. And then our body responds. And if we have excess weight as a direct result of the standard American diet, it will magically go away. With that said, again, we're all unique and we're all individual. So there's different ways that we have to tweak our nutrition to continue in that weight loss mode, because our age, our gender, plays a role, because us ladies, you know, we're all about the hormones and the menopause and the postmenopause and the premenopause and the perimenopause. And you men that are listening in, you just, you know, you got those nice even hormones, and the weight just magically disappears. So it's like, when my husband started this journey with me, he was 80 pounds overweight. He's lost that. And he had hypertension, and he no longer has his hypertension medication. It's gone. So, so that's another wonderful benefit that we've experienced too with my husband, is his high blood pressure has just gone away. So what I've done with Jim, Jim, as you know, since this basically stems from Jim's success and also members of Plant-Based Chico, is a Plant Pure Communities pod, which is a branch off of the Plant Pure Nation documentary. And it was started by Dr. T. Colin Campbell's son, Nelson Campbell. And so the Campbell family is very big in the plant-based community. And so we have a pod and a group that we meet monthly. Now we've taken the summer off, and we're going to start back in September. We have educational meetings, and we share food. We have guest speakers. And so we're really excited to get back on track with the meetings in September. But in the meantime, we also have a secret weight loss group that's our sister group called Plant-Based Chico Weight Loss. And I keep it a secret group because a lot of ladies and men are private about their weight loss, and they really don't want to have a lot of hoopla about it and share their struggles. So we have a little intimate group, and in the group, I orchestrate and run what's called 10-day weight loss challenges. And then the winner of the challenge gets an hour coaching session with me. It can be in person or online like we're doing here, or over the phone. That's the beauty of technology. And so what we do is we base it on the teachings of Dr. John McDougall. So this book is called The McDougall Program for Maximum Weight Loss. This book was written in 1992, I think, by Dr. John McDougall. Dr. John McDougall is a board-certified internist, and he had a thriving practice in Hawaii. And when he was in Hawaii, he found that his patients, the native Hawaiians, had no heart disease, they had no cancer, they had no digestive problems, because they ate a starch-centered lifestyle. But then all of the Americans from the mainland that he was treating, they heart disease, diabetes, gastrointestinal problems. So he started doing research, and he found that a starch-centered diet, like our friends in Asia, Japan, Polynesia, all throughout that area of the world, have a starch-centered diet. The Polynesians, it's sweet potatoes, and in Asia, it's rice. And they didn't have the heart disease that Western Americans did, because we didn't have, when did the first McDonald's show up in Japan? I can't remember what year it was. And that's when they started seeing the influx of chronic disease, when fast food showed up on other continents. So yeah, I don't feel good about that at all. So this book you can find it in used bookstores. You can get it online and Amazon. And it's a really easy read. It's 168 pages of education. And then the last pages is all recipes. So the starch-centered diet is based around potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, brown rice, whole grains. And starch has got a really bad rap from our low carbers like Dr. Atkins, paleo diet, and now keto. And unfortunately, when people are on those low carb, high fat, high meat diets, I did it, I'm guilty. I did Dr. Atkins in the early 2000s, and my face turned beet red, and all of my blood work just blew up really bad. And sure, I dropped about 45 or 50 pounds, but I felt absolutely terrible. I was constipated and just sick. And it was because I was eating bacon for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and no carbohydrates. Well, our brain runs on glucose. Our body runs on glucose. Where do we get that glucose from? We get it from starches. And the misnomer here that's really unfortunate is our medical doctors, they will tell people, stay away from sugar, stay away from starches. But in fact, with our people that are type 2 diabetic, it's fat. Fat is the enemy, because when there's fat in the cell, it prevents the insulin from pulling the glucose into the cell. And so as soon as you start lowering your fat intake and you're burning fat, you see your blood sugar leveling off, because the insulin pulls the glucose in. So you have a stream, your blood vessels, and you've just had, say, a meal that is a baked potato with salsa and fruits, not fruit, but vegetables, and you're going to have your glucose goes up. That's how it works. And then if you have no fat there, no fat with it, then the insulin's going to pull it in, and you're not going to see an increase in your blood sugar. And it's not going to keep flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing through your bloodstream, where you have to inject or take medication to mechanically bring it down. So everybody that I have coached that's type 2 diabetic has reversed their type 2 diabetes. And there's fear there. And that's why I always recommend to people, tell your doctor, go to your doctor, have a physical, and say, I'm going to try a plant-based lifestyle. And we may be here. I may be coming back to adjust my insulin dosage as I'm losing weight and burning fat. And before you know it, you'll be completely off of your insulin, or if you're managing your type 2 diabetes with prescription pills. So people with high blood pressure that I have coached, and that is not just me coaching, but in the whole plant-based community, they see their blood pressure come down dramatically. And our mutual friend Jim Secola's blood pressure was pretty high, and his blood pressure was down to normal, within normal range, within less than 2 weeks. So that's how fast the body responds when it's given proper fuel, proper nutrition. And so some of the things that I get in the beginning are, people will say, I can't afford to eat healthy. Well, my response is, you can't afford to not eat healthy. You need to eat healthy because your body is screaming for micronutrients, macronutrients, bioflavonoids. This is what keeps our body healthy. And also our immune system is in our gut. So the more we can provide it the nutrition, the stronger our immune system gets to ward off cancer, the influenza, all of the environmental attacks that we have out in the world from pesticides and herbicides. So we just basically build this shield around ourselves with the food that we eat. And that's why it's really important. So what I did with Jim is I talked with him on the phone and just said, it's just this simple. I want you to eliminate all the meat in your home. I want you to eliminate all of the dairy in your home, all of the processed food in your home. And we're going to start with what's called a whole food plant-based lifestyle. And so I said, I want you to just start. I want you to go get a 5-pound bag of potatoes. I want you to get some brown rice. I want you to get fruit, vegetables. They can be frozen fruit, frozen vegetables, and then that's where we'll start. Get some no sugar added, no salt added salsa, and some good seasonings, some no salt seasoning, like from Kirkland's. We like the Kirkland organic no salt seasoning. It's wonderful. Garlic, onions, and that's where we start from there. And oatmeal, steel cut oats, oatmeal in the morning. For my breakfast this morning, I had a bowl of steel cut oats, and then I had strawberries and blackberries and raspberries on it. So I gave my body a bowl of fiber, because the oatmeal has a lot of fiber, and it's really good for you to also lower cholesterol. And then the fruit from the berries are low calories, and that gave me, berries are a superfood, and just a lot of bioflavonoids to build my immune system. And then I also put ground flax in there for my omega-3 fatty acids. And that's my breakfast, and it lasts for 3 to 4 hours, and you feel really good, and you don't have a fat-laden. And then for the milk, you can use unsweetened almond milk, unsweetened soy milk, unsweetened oat milk. I don't recommend coconut milk, because coconut milk is a saturated fat and it's high in fat. So we want to stay away from coconut in general while we're in weight loss mode. It's very important. And then And then let me see here. I want to check something. Okay. I just want to make sure that we were still recording. And then that was my breakfast. And then a typical lunch would be I have a steamer at work. It's a little, now I have a nice big steamer, but I had what was a $25 Oster 2-tier steamer, and I just kept it at work, keep it at work.
Yeah, as soon as you get back, those will be over.
And I'll put rice or potatoes and frozen broccoli. I want to ask everybody to mute your microphones. We're getting some feedback into the recording, and that just kind of helps everybody else be able to hear. And so I keep frozen vegetables at work, and so I'll just put some broccoli, corn, cauliflower, asparagus spears, and I just throw that all in the steamer, and I steam it for about 15 minutes, and I keep salsa at work. I like Cholula sauce. There's a balsamic vinegar called Napa Natural Grand Reserve balsamic vinegar, and it's a low acid balsamic vinegar, and it's very good on vegetables. It's very good on sweet potatoes. It's delicious. So that's something you might want to write that down. Again, Napa Natural Grand Reserve balsamic vinegar, and they actually in Chico sell it at New Earth Market. It's very good. And then for dinner, there's so many things. Like, I'm just going to grab the book here. Like, there's vegetable rice casserole. There's 5-grain rice, wild spinach rice. There's curry I'm in the sauce section, but dressing and dips. And I want to get a vegetable chili, or Italian garbanzo stew. One thing about Dr. McDougall's philosophy is he wants to heal the world. And him and his wife, Mary, they have developed thousands of recipes that promote healing as well as weight loss. In our Plant-Based Chico group, there's a pinned post that Lanny Mulerath from Magalia, she's an author, educator. She took the time and on her website compiled 500 maximum weight loss recipes, and that post is pinned in the Plant-Based Chico weight loss group. So you don't even have to buy this book to start a whole food plant-based lifestyle weight loss program. I recommend that you buy the book, because having that education and knowledge and why it works builds your foundation, and it helps you stay focused on, if I veer off and I eat this bagel, because it is refined, it's not a complex carbohydrate, it's a garbage carbohydrate. It's not going to give me any nutrients because it has what's called plant fragments in it. It's just what is called filler food. There's really no nutrition there. So it explains that. It tells you why you want to stay away from those. Go have a bowl of oatmeal, have, hash browns, potatoes, all of the wonderful whole foods that are much more healthy for you. So in the group, there's a pinned post with 500 calories, 500 recipes that you can immediately get started on today if you wanted to. We have a challenge that starts on Monday, and you're all welcome to join in. The more the merrier. And so I want to get back to Jim. So back to Jim is, I said, go buy potatoes. I already said all that. Buy potatoes, buy rice and whatnot. And then just start there. And then I was talking to him about what's called calorie density. Jeff Novick, who is a board certified registered dietitian, and he works with Dr. McDougall at his health center in Santa Rosa, has developed what's called a chart that shows calorie density. And so our calorie density, our least caloric foods are greens, lettuce, chard, bok choy, kale, Swiss chard, collards, dark leafy greens. You can eat those all day long, every day, and you will not gain weight. And what the beauty of greens is they contain what's called nitrous oxide. And when you're consuming nitrous oxide, it increases the velocity of the blood flow and in your circulation. Greens are phenomenal. And and I'm looking at my stack of books here, and I thought I had pulled Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. So there's a doctor called Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, and he wrote a book called Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. And he teaches us that by having 5 servings of greens every day, it helps heal our cardiovascular system, our blood vessels, our arteries, and the nitrous oxide increases the velocity of our blood flow, so it helps our circulation, it helps with healing. So greens every day. You want to have a big salad 2 times a day at minimum, or if you have the steamer, if you invest in the little steamer, just put 2 or 3 handfuls of those greens in there, and then have that on your rice and your potatoes. And there's just so many great combinations that you can do with greens. They're a power food, but they're the lowest on the calorie density scale. And oil, olive oil, safflower oil, sunflower seed oil, canola oil, Wesson oil, all the oil, olive oil. Olive oil is not a health food. Olive oil damages the endothelial layer of our blood vessels. So I want to say that again. All oil damages the endothelial layer of our blood vessels. So write this down. I want you all to go to YouTube or Google and type in Dr. Caldwell, Caldwell, Esselstyn. And I know that's a tricky name, and it is spelled Esselstyn, Esselstyn, I believe, but it'll come up in Google, the proper spelling. And then he's going to explain to you, then you can put after his name greens, and you'll see his YouTube not demonstration, but talk on the importance of eating greens and how eating greens promotes cardiovascular health. So we incorporate greens every day into our diet. I personally had a full cardiac workup done because of my family history, and fortunately I was okay. But I still make sure I have greens 3 to 4 to 5 times a day, because that circulation is so important to all of our extremities, our brain, our mind. We want that clear brain. And so we go from greens to oil, and where's everything else in the middle? So then we have fruits and vegetables, legumes, starches, and we have this like line. Chef AJ calls it the red line, and that stops at avocados. Avocados are an amazing food, but they're full of monosaturated fat, and that fat has calories. Fat calories are the highest number of energy units is from fat. So when we're in weight loss mode, we want to stay away from avocados until we get to our right size weight. Now, they are a whole part of a whole food plant-based lifestyle, hands down, very nutritious, but they do have a higher fat. So what do we eat on the McDougall Maximum Weight Loss starch-centered diet? Are, again, potatoes, whole grains, legumes, fruits, and vegetables. And we can eat them ad libitum. We do recommend in weight loss mode that you only have 2 fruits per day. But then again, like Jim is, he's 56 years old, he's exercising, he's having more than 2 or 3 fruits a day, but because he's burning a lot of calories, it's working for him. Now, us ladies, and if you're like me, during the day, I drive a desk as an accountant, I'm not burning those extra calories from fruit. Now, fruit, again, is phenomenal. It's wonderful. All fruit is super good for your health, but it also has more calories, and every calorie counts when we're in weight loss mode. So we want to limit those to a couple a day. And then it's hard though, because we're in the summertime and all those fresh peaches and nectarines and watermelon. So, have them, but just have them a 1 or 2 or, 3 a day. And then have your starches, your legumes, and your greens, and your big salads. And I promise you, the weight will fall off of you. It's just amazing. But most importantly is how good you'll feel. I was just talking to Jim. We talked for about a half an hour the other night on the phone. And he said, Nancy, I didn't realize it. He said, I might not have told you, but I have rheumatoid arthritis. And he was like, I don't know why, but my shoulders don't hurt. He's like, I've got full range of motion where I never had that since I developed rheumatoid arthritis. And I said, hey, that's the beauty of the diet. He said, my hands have been super stiff and they're still stiff, but they're getting better. But the pain is gone. And that's the amazing beauty of when you take your body from an angiogenesis, which means you have an acidic body, to a homeostasis where your pH and non-acidic is when your body begins to heal. And all of that inflammation from arthritis just goes away. Autoimmune diseases, it goes on and on. When my mom lived with us after her double mastectomy, she had both osteo and rheumatoid arthritis. And she ate a plant-based diet with us for about 10 months. She was on Norco, Tramadol, the whole opioid nightmare, and she suffered from constipation as a result of that. When she ate with us, she was off all of her medication. And then she moved in with her sister, and they went back to the standard American diet, and came back, all the pharmaceuticals came back. And she was on, when she passed away, she was on about 17 different types of pain medicine. It was just not pain medicine, but all medicine. It was just terrible. So that's the power of food. So Jim has been on this program for 6 weeks only, and he has no shoulder pain from his rheumatoid arthritis, no knee pain, no hip pain. That is a direct result of losing 60 plus pounds, as well as reducing the inflammation. So I can just go on for days and days on days about the power of a plant-based diet and the healing effects of a plant-based diet. And if you are all interested, I'm more than happy to have weekly, we're having monthly meetings, but they're not as intimate as group meetings where we can really talk nutrition. And I would love to do that with you. And we can pick a topic, like we can pick a book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Dr. Neil. This is Esselstyn. I do have his book. I thought I had the type 2 diabetes book. So this is it, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. And that's his picture. I've met him. I've seen him speak in person twice. He's amazing. He's an Olympic gold medalist rower. And so read this book. Absolutely imperative to read that book if you have any form of heart disease. It's phenomenal. So again, there's no magic pill to good health. Good health is going to come from a little bit of work on your side, from having to prepare meals. There's no restaurant in Chico that I have found that has an oil-free option out there. Om Foods is vegan, but a lot of their meals they're very high in oil. They put flavored oil on their food, and the majority of their main dishes are made with oil. So Nick and I don't eat there. Down the road, Live Life Juice has a lot of vegan. They're all vegan, 100% vegan at Live Life Juice, and they have a lot of salads and veggie things, and their pre-made things like their cheesecakes and stuff like that, those all have oil in them, but they have a few like spiralized salads, and then they put the salad dressing on the side that has oil in it. Those are delicious. I'll take that whole little bowl and I'll take it home or to work, and I'll plop it in my steamer and steam it for a few minutes, and it's absolutely delicious. And then I just use my balsamic vinegar and my no salt seasoning. So you're going to have to work at this. There's no getting around it. The tools that are really helpful are an Instant Pot, a Vitamix, or any high-speed blender like a Blendtec blender is really good, but you don't have to have it to get started. If you have a microwave, I don't recommend microwaves. I don't use a microwave, but I had a microwave when I started my plant-based journey, and I used it all the time. But as my knowledge has grown, and I found that I was never using it, I gave it away. So, but again, use what you have to start. You want a good nonstick pan, preferably not Teflon. We're using ceramic coated, and then there's a type of cookware called Scan, SCAN. They don't have those nasty PFOEs and PFOAs, so like Teflon. So check your pans. If the Teflon in your nonstick pans is starting to peel or degrade, you want to toss those nonstick pans out and invest in a good, large, minimum of a 10 to 12 inch nonstick pan. Really great, because you're not going to be cooking with oil, and there's a little trick to it. So you bring the pan up to heat, you put in some vegetable stock and some onions and garlic, and you can saute your vegetables. You're only limited by your own imagination. And when I started, both my grandmothers and my aunts and my mom taught me how to cook the standard American diet. So it was a slab of butter, some oil, and the veggies went in, and that's how we, cooked. So I didn't really care if it was nonstick, because there was enough fat in there that nothing would stick anyway. And so we're not doing that anymore. In this lifestyle, we're not adding butter, we're not adding fat. We're doing it on basically a no fat cooking method. So that's why I like to steam. I like to stir fry. I have a big wok, and I'll just put in some water or some veggie broth and just saute those veggies until they're soft and al dente. And then I dress them up. I'll put onions, tomatoes, seasonings, salsas, whatever you're having, and it works really, really well. And when I have a salad, it's as big as my head. It's huge. And in my salad, I'll put garbanzo beans, kidney beans, celery. I'll have a sweet potato on the side with it. I'll put blueberries or raspberries in my salad. What else do I put in there? I'm looking at my salad bowl thinking. So there's 7 S's to a good salad. You want to have starch. So, quinoa, brown rice. So I'll put quinoa. There's Fran. Hi, Fran. Fran joined us. Fran's my friend. She's the coach up at Plant-Based Medford. She's a board certified coach and Gerson trainer. So Fran is a great resource in our group too. And so getting back to the work, I don't want to scare any of you, because it's actually quite easy and it's quite fun. So before, to me, cooking was like a chore. It was a drudgery. Like, what are we going to make for dinner? We're going to do the old, hamburger helper again. And, it was just tasted terrible. But now I restored my love of cooking, so much so that I became a certified cooking instructor. And now, my kitchen is got tons of fresh fruit. It's got tons of fresh vegetables. I've got onions on the counter, garlic on the counter. I've got 4 heads of bananas, because I'm going to freeze the bananas and make nice cream. And behind me, you can see my collection of cookware. And I use that stuff all the time. And as a result of doing the cooking, my health is perfect. And my doctor is Dr. Christine Sloop and Dr. Randall Sloop in Chico. When I have my blood work done, Christine, she just looks at me and she just laughs. She goes, if all of my patients could be as healthy as you. So as I was mentioning earlier with allergies, how bad they were, now on my 2 blood tests in a row, so over 2 years, there's a blood test that will check how sensitive you are to allergies. Mine doesn't even read anymore. It's like 0. And she just cracks up over that, because it just used to be terrible. So there's a C-reactive protein test that you can have, and you might want to write this down. So when you see your doctor and share with them that you want to adopt a plant-based diet, you want to have a lipid profile done to check your cholesterol. You want to have a thyroid profile done, and you want to have your C-reactive protein tested and your A1C. Those are your benchmarks for overall chronic health or chronic disease, and then we can use those as your benchmarks, and you want to drive all those numbers down. So those are really important. And mine are all normal. And I was the C-reactive protein, it was close to 7, which was a real big bad thing. And now it's about 2. So it's just the power of plants, guys. It's just amazing how quickly they heal, how quickly the body responds to plant-based nutrition. And Fran's here with us, and she's a testimony too, who she was battling chronic disease, and she's just doing phenomenal now. And so what I want to do now is I've probably blown all of your minds and you're thinking you can't do this. I mean, eating a potato defies the law of nutrition, you know, and let's, if you want to ask questions, go ahead. You can unmute yourself and start asking questions, and then we'll talk about getting you guys started and recipes in the plant-based Chico group, and how to get going, because you can literally start going by just 2 grocery bags of food from the grocery store that will be under $50. You literally can start with brown rice, russet potatoes, or sweet potatoes. And now a lot of people don't realize the different types of potatoes. The orange flesh is yams. Those are the kind of yams you have at Thanksgiving. Those are perfectly fine, but a lot of people don't like them. But then true sweet potatoes have a white flesh, and when you cook them, they taste like candy. They're so sweet and delicious. And at S&S Produce in Chico, they have what's called Japanese sweet potatoes and Hana sweet potatoes. They have Japanese sweet potatoes have like a purplish maroon outer skin. The Hana sweet potatoes have a soft light brown skin. They're tubular, and just bake them in the oven, preferably quickly before it gets hot. Or if you have an Instant Pot, you can cook them in the Instant Pot for 9 minutes and let the pressure come down naturally, then let them cool naturally, and they will stay in the refrigerator for up to a week. Don't cover them up. Just put them in a bowl and let them breathe. Russet potatoes are phenomenal. They're loaded with vitamin C, loaded with fiber, and they only have 125 calories. Potatoes get a bad rap because of all the garbage people put on them, the sour cream, the cheese, the bacon, the butter, all of that leads to fat and type 2 diabetes. And the poor, lonely, healthy potato that's buried under all of that gets the bad rap. I mean, it's totally innocent. I mean, it's just totally innocent. So if you remove the butter and the garbage and you have the potato, you have fiber. That fiber goes into your GI tract, into your colon, and it heals your colon. There's people that have shared their experience with me on their constipation, that when they get into the cycle of a plant-based lifestyle, they find that they had suffered unknowingly with chronic constipation. And when they finally got the fiber into their upper intestines and their upper colon and started moving all that built up feces, they started getting really, really healthy, and the leaky gut syndrome was healed. So when you have all that built up feces in your colon, it causes all kinds of things, irritable bowel syndrome, the list goes on and on, Crohn's disease. So we really want to focus on overall health. When we're here for weight loss, we want to get the pooping. We want to poop, you know, we want to be hydrated. You want to drink lots of water, and the potato has a lot of fiber, as much vitamin C as an orange. So I mean, Nick will eat 5 or 6 potatoes a day. I mean, and then again, he's lost 80 pounds and he's maintaining his weight now. I'll have a couple a day. I just like to have a lot of salads, and I'll have a big half of a sweet potato. But my big thing is greens and beans. I love greens and beans. I could eat beans all day, every day. It's weird. But then I have to have my starch too, because I need that glucose for my brain. And if I find that I'm not having enough starch, it's like I need that energy. So I'll increase my starch. It's that simple. And so with that said, who would like to ask a question? I see we have a chat coming up. It says, Nancy, you had started to list the 7 S's of the salad. Okay. So in plant-based Chico in the group files, because you're going to have to test me on this because I'm going from memory. Fran, you might want to help me on this one. The one is salt. And how do you get salt from nature? Through celery. Celery is full of minerals that are wonderful for your health. And they also have a lot of natural sodium. So I make sure and put celery in all of my salads. Then starch is the second S, and that can be quinoa. It can be any type of whole grain that's a starch. It can be brown rice. And then sweet, you want something sweet, because what we're trying to do in that 7S of the salad is to hit all of the flavor profiles of our tongue. So we'll put blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, blueberries in the salad, and absolutely delicious. So that's salt, sweet, and then you want something sour. So something sour could be acidic, like from the balsamic vinegar, because that's going to get that specific area on your tongue. And then, oh my goodness, I'm trying to remember the 7S's. I have that in my book.
Is there a savory?
No, you know what? I don't remember. So let me, what I'll do to answer your question, Debbie, is I'll go to my cheat sheet in Plant-Based Chico in the group files, and then I'll list it in the comments, because I'm going to post this video in Plant-Based Chico on my personal page and in You Know You're From Chico When, and I'll put the 7S's, all of them, in the comments. That way you'll have it. And so sweet, salty, starch, that's 3. I know that, and there's 4 more, and I'm just at a loss for it. I apologize. I just got into the habit, you make your salads out of habit, and I apologize, but I'll find out. So does anybody have any other questions? You guys can unmute yourself and ask away. I'm ready for questions. I see that Sally, you're muted. Debbie, you're muted. Laura, you're muted. Pam, you're muted.
I have a question.
Okay, and who is it that's talking?
Kathy Timmy.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi. So if you are limiting yourself to 2 fruits a day and you do a green smoothie, that takes up your fruits, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. But
yeah, so the green smoothie is, you want to have it to be 90% greens and just a little bit of the frozen fruit on top. Ideally, those would be berries because they have a lower calorie density. But again, peaches are in season, nectarines are in season, and if you have those, then I always say eat local and eat in season is really important. And but again, if you're out and about and you're hungry and you want to have an apple, eat an apple. I mean, let's see, apple Snicker bar. You always go for the apple. Again, if we're in weight loss mode, that is a recommendation. But for somebody who just wants to reverse heart disease, but they're already slender, but they're suffering from what's called skinny obesity, then they can have all the fruit they want. It's not limited. So, but for anybody who wants to lose, want to have less than 2 or 3 fruits per day.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It's good seeing you.
I have a question, Nancy.
Okay.
It's Sally.
Hi, Sally.
I've heard somewhere that beets are considered greens. Is that correct?
They are. Yes, that's correct.
That's nice. And then also, when we talk about having a couple of pounds, like Chef AJ, about having a couple of pounds of vegetables a day and a pound of fruit.
Yep.
So when you talk about your pounds of vegetables, does that include squashes and cucumbers and tomatoes, which are actually botanically fruits?
Right.
Or can they be considered vegetables in this case?
Everything that I've learned through Chef AJ's program is that tomatoes count as a vegetable.
Okay.
And I've been
and
eating
how about
a lot
like
of them.
Zucchini and croutons? Those are vegetables?
Those are all vegetables. Yeah, because Chef AJ, her favorite vegetable is zucchini.
Well, that's where we differ.
I've eaten so much zucchini in my life. Nick and I when we had our farm in Orland, we had grew 5 acres. We had a organic produce business. We delivered organic produce to San Francisco market, and I had more zucchini. I never ate a zucchini the rest of my life. It wouldn't hurt my feelings. I don't like them.
I know. And is there? I don't like baked squash, like the butternut squash and the yams and the sweet potatoes. And I know that those are really champions in this whole thing. And can you think of any other kinds of alternatives that add that kind of bulk
Well, that's the thing. They give you a lot of bulk for very little calories. And
Yeah.
rice is higher grains. Whole grains are higher on the caloric index, the calorie index. So that's kind of a bummer. Have you tried purple sweet potatoes? And have you tried Japanese sweet potatoes? Have you tried
I
any?
have. They're just a little too sweet for me. For
How
it
about
just seems
russets?
like. Pardon me?
How about russet potatoes?
Oh yeah, I eat a couple of russets a day, and in fact they make fun of me at work because I have my cold potato in the middle of the afternoon.
Good job. Good job. Good job.
I think of you every time.
Good. Potato power. Potato hour. Oh, I know. I just smile and say, yeah, I don't take any pills either.
I am off, by the way, I am off all my medication.
Congratulations. And how long
Yeah.
is it? How long have you been plant-based? Remind me.
Completely plant-based since January, but I've been a vegetarian for years.
And
But I finally cut out dairy, and I've been off migraine medication and blood pressure meds. So I take
fantastic.
that. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's the power of the plants. There you go. A true testimonial right there. Absolutely. That's fabulous. Congratulations. And so if you are like Sally and not a big fan of potatoes, then, you just are going to have to tweak your whole grains with rice and eat more vegetables, lots more vegetables, because the more vegetables you eat, the more bulk you'll have in your stomach. And you might just have to eat more frequently. You might have to have more salads frequently. But again, that's the thing about this lifestyle. I don't want people to think, well, all you're going to live on is twigs and alfalfa sprouts and, celery stalks. That's not the case. I mean, it's truly not. Fran is a certified vegan infusion trainer, and you should see the meals that Fran makes. It's unbelievable. And one of the things that Fran and I both have is a big panini press, and we'll make these hash browns, paninis, burritos. And Fran will get a big collard green from her garden, and then she'll put the hash brown, it's like a hash brown blanket on top of the collard green, and then put in some vegetables and onions, and then roll it all up like a burrito. I think that you could have a food truck with these potato burritos and make a fortune. They're so good. So again,
that's a great place to put a sweet potato also, because you've
exactly.
got, the sweet potatoes they are super sweet, but if you look at them from a sweetness and you use them as a flavoring agent in your salads like you would a raisin,
right?
Instead of just eating a sweet potato straight, you add it as an ingredient where you might have added sugar, like in a salad dressing. You can blend a cooked sweet potato into a salad dressing that would make it creamy.
Same with the smoothie.
And with a smoothie, yeah. So doesn't necessarily need to be a whole ingredient. Yeah. So it's with these potato wraps, I've put even romaine inside the potato, and I've rolled it up to where I've got that salad crunch inside. So there's lots of ways to combine savory and sweet together.
Absolutely. Super, super healthy and healing and filling. And that's what I do for my 5-year-old grandson. When he's here and he wants a smoothie, is I'll just drop half a sweet potato into his smoothie, and he's not hungry for hours.
Nice.
Nice little trick. So I would just, Sally, I would just keep experimenting. And I really like what Fran suggested, is kind of using them as raisins here and there, a small squares in a salad or on top of your vegetables. And
that's a good idea.
I put them in
my sushi rolls just to add a little texture element too. But I do remember Fran's video with the big collard green burrito thing. Is there a way do you have it pinned somewhere, Fran? That video?
I do. I've got a plant-based Medford, Oregon, and It's been a recent post in there because
Okay.
people keep asking. I think
Yeah.
I may even have it on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a YouTube channel? Okay.
I do, yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So again, you're not going to be a plant-based professional overnight. That you're going to go, oh my gosh, what do I eat? And like of the ladies, I've been coaching some ladies from that are survivors of the campfire, and just starting with the basics. There's a gentleman from Australia. His name is Andrew Taylor. He suffered from severe depression. He was on multiple types of antidepressants, and he had been suicidal, and he wrote a book called Andrew Spudfit Taylor. He decided he was going to eat nothing but potatoes for an entire year. Plus, he was over 100 pounds overweight. Well, he lost all the weight. He's off all of his antidepressants, and he's completely changed his entire life. And all he did was eat potatoes for an entire year. Every meal, every day for a year was various kinds of potatoes. And his body healed and his brain healed. And so every time that you can get potatoes into your diet is a good thing. So I'm getting some feedback from somebody. Let's see. Is that me? Do you guys hear it?
Yeah, we hear it.
Let's see. I don't know who it is. Oh, well. Okay, does anybody else have any more questions? Would anybody like to join the challenge on Monday? Jump in and try a plant-based diet for the next 10 days and see how you do, see how you feel. If you do, then request to join Plant-Based Chico Weight Loss, but it's hard to do because it's a secret group. So just comment in Plant-Based Chico, say, please add me to the challenge group, and you can send me a friend request so I can put you in the group. And then every morning I do a morning ride along for just share tips and tricks and some inspiration that's helped me on my plant-based journey. And then we all just share our meals and ask questions, and we learn from each other. And if any of you are members of Weight Watchers, and if you ever went to any of the meetings before, we'll have certain little topics during the day, and we'll work on those. And it's a lot of fun. And the main thing is that we all encourage and support each other through scale victories, non-scale victories, ups and downs. And there's always somebody in the group that can answer a question if you have one. And that's what's really nice too.
Can you hear me at all?
I can. Who is just, yes.
This is Marcy, and I have a question.
What's your question, Marcy?
My doctor, I recently had a blood test done, and my doctor called and said I was a little bit, not too much, but a little bit high in potassium. I've been following this kind of a diet. I have a few episodes where I have an ice cream or something, but basically I'm trying to stay on this diet pretty good. And he said I'm high in potassium. Now, and then his next recommendation was to stop eating all fruits and bananas, especially, and greens and potatoes. And I thought, oh, holy cow, I'm not going to be able to eat anything. And so I just decided to ignore it since the potassium wasn't very high.
Right.
And so I'm wondering if there's something else that could be wrong, or if I really should cut down on these foods, or what. I
would start by no more ice cream.
Well, yeah. Sure on that. But that's not very often. It's just the moments of weakness when I'm out there, But
right.
Yeah, I don't think that's what caused it. But I'm wondering if I drink a lot of liquids, could that be causing a potassium imbalance?
Well, Fran, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I need to also get another doctor.
Well, I mean, you should be able to drink 3/4 of an ounce of water per pound of body weight, and that's
right.
not too much. When you're saying liquids,
like tea. And at one time it seems like I was having a problem with sodium in my diet, and I guess I was going to the gym all the time, and I was drinking way too much water, and then adding tea and coffee and other drinks throughout the day, just odds and ends that I would
Well,
drink.
the tea and the coffee can be actually dehydrating, so I wouldn't count those in your ounces of liquid a day.
You have to actually increase. You also have to have more. You would need to increase your hydration with water to compensate for the dehydrating effects of the caffeine.
I mean, minimally, you want 3/4 of an ounce. And it depends on what season it is. If it's hot and you're perspiring, then you want to add more water than that.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think the doctors are really trained of when they're looking at potassium, and they're looking at, I mean, if you're doing 10 bananas a day, I mean, if you keep your bananas to 1 banana a day,
yeah, that's basically all I ever have anyway. Is one for breakfast, but then I eat a lot of potatoes and a lot of greens. So, and that was also on the high potassium list. I looked online, high potassium foods, and the doctor was right on the high potassium foods. It's everything I eat. So,
right. And you may want to reduce your russets. I just recently, my blood work 6 months ago, I was doing a lot of russets. And my blood work came back that I was, my triglycerides jumped. And my following blood work, I actually cut the russets out, and I've gone to, reds and Yukons. And I'm focusing more on beans than I am on potatoes now. But I still keep my beans to a 1/2 cup serving per meal. But amazingly enough, my triglycerides went from like 245 to 89 in 6 months by cutting out the russets.
wow.
And I was doing those hash brown wraps every day. Looking forward to that. And I was eating 2 huge hash browns, or 2 big russets at the same time. And just cutting those out, it was amazing how quick my triglycerides came down.
Yeah.
So
it's all different. We all react differently.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So Marcy, I would really just start working towards looking at how much water you drink. And then I would see how much of the, like say, for example, you're drinking a gallon of water, or a gallon of liquid per day. And if 1/3 of that is from tea and the 2/3 is from water, then I wouldn't think that would be bad. But if it's the opposite, if you're drinking more tea,
yeah, I would say I'm drinking a lot more tea and other odds and ends drinks, even kombucha and things like that. But when they told me to limit liquids, she said it limit all liquids.
Right.
Well, like I was drinking more than 16, 17 cups a day.
Yeah, so that's a lot. It's too much. And the kombucha is very high in sugar, and there's a lot of calories in kombucha. And I know it's a real trendy drink right now, but the research that I've done on kombucha is it's a lot better for you just to take a vegan probiotic if you're going for the probiotic. And if you're going just for the flavor, and if you have any type of, like for a lot of people that have any type of eating disorder, that sweetness and sugar in the kombucha is a trigger, and it makes them want to go eat a lot of sweets and eat a lot more sweets. So I was trying the kombucha. I thought, hey, this is trendy and fun. But I found that after I drank a little bottle that big of kombucha, I was like a zombie. And I don't keep anything sweet in my house, but I have nuts in my house, and I would think like, okay, I'd like to be like the googly eyes, and I'm like, I need to have a nut, I need to have something. And I stopped drinking the kombucha. I mean, it was like kind of like a treat. I'd go to New Earth Market, we'd check out, I'd get a little thing of kombucha, and then I never felt good in the evening after that because my dopamine would spike, and I just cut out the kombucha. So it's a real rarity that I have one now, because I just do a probiotic capsule. There are 3. I have 3 a day, and that's what I do. I did that because I had to be on antibiotics for a tooth infection that I had. So they say after you've been on antibiotics, and I was on 2 or maybe even 3 rounds of antibiotics. And so I'm just still really working on rebuilding my gut flora. So I don't know, that's my 2 cents. I'm not a big fan of kombucha. I know Fran used to make kombucha. What's your position on kombucha, Fran?
Well, you want to look at your label for one.
Mm-hmm.
There are higher sugar contents in kombucha than in some brands and others. And typically in a bottle of kombucha, it's 2 servings. So if you look
I
at
drink the whole thing, yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Who drink? It's like a, Lay's potato chip. Who just eats one,
Right.
but even like in the GTS brand, there are 35 calories per serving.
Mm-hmm.
So in kombucha, the mother basically eats the sugar.
Right.
So if you look at a brand and it's 35 calories per serving and you can drink 1 cup, half a bottle, and it doesn't trigger you, you really do need to look at the triggers.
Right.
One of them that I just recently bought that I really feel that might be almost medicinal is a GTS turmeric kombucha. And it is, oh my gosh, I mix it half and half with water because it's super strong.
Really?
It's not like you're drinking
like
a
the dog in the
soda.
background.
It's like you're drinking a turmeric drink.
Ah, well, good. Well, there's so
GTS?
yeah, it's made by GTS. There's so many benefits to the probiotics in it, but for me, the cost that of the sugar and how it made me feel, it just wasn't worth it to me. So, but to answer your question, Marcy, I think that you really need to evaluate your liquids. I would look at what you're drinking, and you literally can throw your electrolytes off if you're not drinking a good combination of liquids and
Yeah,
water.
and that would make your potassium go up, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
So I'd look at adding.
It's not a matter of too much fruit or bananas, or greens and that. I think it's more my drinking.
Most likely.
I'm a 2-fisted drinker.
Yeah. And so on that note, when was the last time you had your blood sugar checked and kidney studies, kidney screen?
Well, probably about a year ago.
And how was your blood sugar?
The year prior to that, when I had it done, I was pre-diabetic.
Right.
And then when I switched to the plant-based diet and quit eating meat. I prior to that, I was even eating meat and dairy and everything.
Right.
And when I cleaned up my diet, then the blood sugar stabilized. And last year when I had it done, I was no longer pre-diabetic.
That's
So
good.
it was okay. It was within range.
Okay, the reason I ask is because excess thirst can be a sign of diabetes.
Oh, I don't drink because of thirst. I just drink because of I used to smoke years ago, 20 years ago, and when I quit smoking, it's a hand to mouth thing. I'm constantly looking for something to especially when I'm driving. I always want to have something going that I'm drinking.
Right.
So I take all these various teas and it's a lot more odds and ends than water.
Yeah. I would like to see you go to an herbal tea rather than just a black tea, and start decreasing the caffeine. The thing of it is too, that's kind of a double-edged sword, is that caffeine is a central nervous system stimulator. It stimulates hunger. It stimulates that desire to have that hand-to-mouth repetitive activity. So when you start removing that central nervous system stimulator, you will find that you have less desire to have that repetitive motion. I'm a former smoker myself, and I went through the same type of thing. I was a Diet Pepsi addict. I mean, hi, my name is Nancy Matthews. I was a 12-pack a day Diet Pepsi. I was and a cigarette smoker. So, I mean, I was bad. I beat the crap out of my body in a bad way. And I drank too much too. I mean, I wasn't an alcoholic or anything, but I'd have a glass of wine with dinner every night. So it was just all the garbage. And I found that after I gave up the Diet Pepsi, I switched to coffee, and then I went from coffee to tea, and then I went from tea to work my way down the scale.
Right.
And it made a huge difference. And now, I mean, like this is my 32 ounce. I'll have a couple of these a day, and I'll sneak in an herbal tea here and there because it's very healthy, lots of antioxidants. I love turmeric tea, and the ones I try to stick to the more healthy ones like that. And I found that habit, it's less and less and less and less. So I would say, Marcy, for you, the first thing I'd recommend you do is to really evaluate what you're drinking. That's a good one. That's a good one.
This is my favorite. This roasted dandelion root by Medicinals. It's what got me off of coffee. It is a dark tea, very robust, and it helps detox the liver.
Bonus.
So, I mean, it's medicine, but oh my gosh, when I'm having problem in the morning with getting going in the bathroom, it's a little bit helpful. Yeah. So I travel with it, and it's my daily go-to morning tea.
Nice.
And caffeine free.
Yeah.
I'll have a cup of that when we're in Vegas, ma'am.
Yes. I'll bring some extra bags.
Yes, thank you. Fran and I are going to Las Vegas the end of the month to Chef AJ's Las Vegas Ultimate Weight Loss Conference. So we're pretty excited about that.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. So Marcy, I mean, it sounds like you've got, you're 90% there. You gotta give up that occasional ice cream because the casein protein in there and all of the yucky stuff that's in that dairy, your body.
I always feel guilty afterwards.
I know, but the thing is, internally, your body has to go from, doing all of its maintenance. The cells are working 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Then it's like the little, envision them as little robots. It's like, a space invader came in, and we got to go get rid of all that garbage that came in from the dairy. So then it's not working on your good health. So think of it as junk food. It's frankenfood. It's not health promoting. And there's a lot of great things. If you have a high-speed blender, maybe something to invest in is a Vitamix. And then,
I have one.
Then get some frozen fruit, frozen bananas, and make yourself a delicious nice cream.
I do that too.
Good. Very good.
But then, of course, there's more bananas.
Right, but I think that your issue is coming from what you're drinking more than what you're eating.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of thinking that way too.
Yeah.
You might switch out your bananas for a mango in your smoothie. It will make your smoothie creamy without the potassium added from the banana.
They're
good
super
thought.
good. And Costco has the frozen organic mango chunks, and I put those in our smoothies, and they're delicious. So good idea to do that. So does anybody else have any questions?
I have one more. This is Sally.
Hi, Sally.
How about vitamin B12 supplements? I've heard that, first I heard that if you're
You must be the one with the dogs.
plant-based, you should have them twice a week. And then I've read somewhere that you should have them every day. And what do you think of, do you have any thoughts on that?
Mm-hmm. I do. I'll talk about anything. So Sally, how long again? You started your plant-based journey in January?
In January, but I didn't have a
They had
lot
a good saying though. They say
I didn't have a lot of cheese or eggs or anything like that before that. I was
your genetics
pretty
load
much
the
vegan,
gun.
but now
Your
I'm
lifestyle pulls the
completely
trigger.
plant-based.
I thought that was really good analogy.
What do you have? How much red meat did you eat up until you went plant-based? Because that's the big thing, is where if you're eating a lot of red meat, because we get the B12 is a microorganism that the cattle ingest, and we get that B12 secondary from eating basically meat. So when was
Yeah,
what was your red meat intake?
years. It had been years since I had any kind of quantity of red meat. It's never
Okay.
been a part of my diet, really.
So it sticks with us for years. Like Dr. McDougall says, is that people can go from the standard American diet and not even need to supplement with B12 for 5 years.
Oh,
Now,
Oh,
with
wow.
yeah, so with that said, there are medical issues that some of people have where they have a hard time metabolizing the vitamin B12, but you probably don't have that. You would have known about the methyl, what is it, Fran? The methylate, B12.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, there's several types of B12. There, methylcobalamin, and
Yeah.
there's one that starts with C. So,
Yeah.
your quality of your B12 is super important also.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I would be looking at probably a sublingual that's a liquid, and in that methylcobalamin, I don't have it handy here, but yeah, and maybe once a
That's
week.
a good one. Yeah.
You know,
Well,
instead
I
of
see what's
daily, some of the doctors recommend B12 daily. And if you're running high on B12, you might want to just do it weekly.
Right.
Okay.
So Dr. Sloop here in town, my doctor, she does 5,000 micrograms weekly. And so she just takes it weekly. And I was like, well, I'm just going to do what she does. So I just take it weekly. I feel fine. And I've had my B12 tested, and I've been plant-based over 7 years. And my B12 has always been high normal, way high normal. It's never been low. And I am the worst pill popper in the whole world. I don't take medicine. I forget to take them. I'll go weeks and weeks and forget about the B12 because the bottle will go clear in the back of my cupboard. And it's like, oh, there those are. I forgot about those. And then I'll take 3 or 4 of them, and I'll take, get like 20,000 micrograms, and then I'll go for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks and not take them. And I'm really bad about it. But the good thing is our bodies are holding it in there, unless you have something medically wrong that your B12, you have to take it more frequently, which I'm not that person. And the same with D3. The same with D3. I'm low in D3. I'm always low in D3. I'm a mushroom. I work in an office, and I just don't get enough sun. And so I have to take D3. So Dr. Sloop recommended 20,000 of that weekly, and because it's fat soluble, you get a little bit of a benefit there, where B12 is more water soluble. So so it's easy. I do 5 of the B12 weekly, if I remember, and again D3 is 20,000, and that's basically, she said I could do that just even every once a week or twice a week, and I feel fine. I have no lethargy, and my blood levels are okay. And my last time my vitamin D was checked, it was still low normal, but it was going up because I started doing the 20,000 micrograms that she recommended per week. So, and again, I'm still terrible at taking the pills just because I don't take any regular medication. And I don't like them sitting on the counter, so I forget to take them. So I would just say go to S&S Produce or go online, and there's a new, what's his name? Brandon of No Meat Athlete. There's a new product out that's very clean. It's a B12 that's clean. I'll post it in the comments. It's a B12 spray, and it's also got D3, so it's a combination B12, D3, and I think it even has some omega-3 fatty acids. It's like combo something. And I was going to buy one of those. And that's a good one. Yeah.
This one is vegan. Most D is not vegan.
Vegan.
And I was just listening to a podcast this morning. It's twice as much as I think it's lanolin based. Most D is lanolin based. But it says that it helps support bones, mood, and immune system. And I take it at night before I go to bed. And it's supposed to be more beneficial sleeping. But Nordic Naturals is a really great brand that my co-op carries.
That's a good one. And on that note, a tip I was going to say, Fran, is that I've read and heard through podcasts is that they are saying now that if you take your supplements, it's best to take them before bedtime.
Nice, yeah.
For absorption.
Well, yeah. And I mean, your body's in a healing mode while you're sleeping, so it's a good
Yeah.
time for that absorption.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
do a DHA that is from Nordic Naturals also. DHA, EPA, DHA.
That's a
It's,
EPA.
yeah.
All those things.
So that it's supposed to help with brain function.
Yeah. Take two.
I know.
Give everybody
Bring
But
it to Vegas too, please. We'll just check it.
It's a vegan source for that fish oil element.
Replacement. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably from the algae.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. That's good stuff. Does anybody else have any more questions? And I'm sure that we're probably flooding you out here when your brain cells are going, but you know what? It's okay. You can still, we're here. Ask as many questions as you'd like.
I have a question.
Hi,
This
Debbie.
is Debbie.
Ask
Hi.
away.
You mentioned a panini press, and you mentioned a Vitamix and
Instant Pot.
something else. I can't remember what else.
Instant Pot?
Yes. What are the essential equipment recommendations that you have
Vitamix,
for this time?
Instant Pot.
Okay. So
Non-stick
does everybody know what an Instant Pot is?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You need to buy one. You need to get one. You need to invest in one. And they're just such a huge time saver in the kitchen. Now, nothing is instant with the Instant Pot, but it is faster. And I like that it's a multi-cooker. It's a steamer. It's a vegetable cooker. It's a slow cooker. It's a rice cooker. You know, you can bake a cake in it. It's great. So for me, I got my first Instant Pot probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm still using it to this day, a 6-quart. And my Vitamix was my very, very first appliance that I bought when I transitioned to a plant-based lifestyle. Because for me, salad dressing is a big deal. I'm the girl that had the little basic tiny piece of lettuce with a gallon of ranch dressing. That was my salad. And I was so healthy because I had a salad. So I had to have a means to try and replace that fatty, lovely, yummy ranch dressing. And you just can't do it. You know, I'm still trying to master the perfect soy-based, tofu-based ranch dressing. And it's like, I haven't worked on that recipe for a while. I got to get back at it. But the Vitamix is a key to this lifestyle. The Instant Pot is key. Have a good set of knives. If you have a good set of knives, both Fran and I do Pampered Chef. We absolutely love the Pampered Chef knives. A really good non-stick pan, as mentioned before, the Scan Pan, SCAN, you can get on Amazon, but also Pampered Chef has a good non-stick cookware line. And then another cookware line that I have personally, and I love it, is called Swiss Diamond. It is diamond coated. Nothing. You could bake the nastiest stuff on these pans and you'll just wipe right off. And it has no PFOEs and no PFOAs in it. And it's called Swiss Diamond. They carry it at the galley in Chico. And this is something that's an investment. This is not going to Costco and buying $150 set of pots and pans. This stuff is expensive. This is like when I get my bonus every year at work, I go cash the check and I go to the galley and buy a piece of that cookware. You know, they're $150 to $100 a piece. They're not cheap, but I love them. I love Swiss Diamond, hands down. It's my favorite cookware. But again, if you have the finances and can buy a full set of it, go for it. You won't be disappointed. Air fryer. I have a Breville air fryer. It is a Breville all-in-one. Let me see if I can turn my thing around and show it to you. Okay, do you see that oven? It's right there. It's got my bowl on it for my chopped salads. That is the Breville Smart Oven Air. It is a convection oven. It is an air fryer. It's a dehydrator. It actually will do dehydrating of foods too. So it takes the place of my dehydrator. I still have a dehydrator, but I just use that because I use it all the time. So I absolutely love the air fryer. And since we're on an ultra low fat lifestyle, and I also was the girl that would have, 40 pounds of French fries with dinner when we'd go out, and I love my French fries. So Nick and I will put sweet potatoes in there. We'll put russet potatoes in there. I air fry vegetables, but then also too, I'll just use it for baking when my grandson wants cookies, and it's a great convection oven. And what's another one? My juicer. I love my juicer. I just bought a pure juicer that Fran actually has and has videos of on her YouTube channel. It's an investment. And before that, I had a Champion juicer, and that comes in at about $250 for a good juicer. I'm a big advocate of, I love celery juice. It's good for your gut. And it's just, I love juice. I don't do just days on end of juice fasts, but I'll do a day fast with just juice. And Fran is loves to do that too. And, it just resets your tongue. It's great nutrition. And so I love my juicer. And I had a Champion juicer that I bought brand new when I first started to go plant-based back after reading this wonderful book in 92. I was vegetarian vegan for about 3 years, but then life happened and I fell off the wagon. But it all started with this book, and I got a Champion juicer then. And just until recently, I replaced it, and it's lasted all those years. And so Champion juicer, for you when you're just starting out, works wonderfully too. What else do I have? I'm thinking, what else do I use? A Berkey water filter. Let me see if I can turn it around there. I don't know if you can see. Over there in my kitchen, you can see that big silver tube that's sitting on a water cooler. That is a Berkey water filter. We live in the county, but we have city water, and it's full of as you know, chlorine. It's terrible. It tastes awful. And God only knows what else is in it. So I use a Berkey water filter. Great investment, a couple $100, and it's phenomenal. I love the Berkey water filter. Behind me is my Le Creuset Dutch oven and a saute pan. I love those for making soups and for sauteing vegetables and making
shower and stuff. And you can get ready. Can we go to Target so I can get an electric razor?
And
S&S,
so I'll do couscous and things in there, and so it's an investment. But I've been doing this for 7 years, and I just bought. There was my most recent investment. So you don't have to buy this all overnight. You can use what you have, and it's like I was explaining to Jim. You don't have to invest in anything real expensive. But I did give to Jim. Part of Plant-Based Chico in our group is so phenomenal. People give me stuff. So I was given an Instant Pot and a Vitamix, and so I like to pay it forward. That's just how I am, and whenever I can help somebody, I want to do that. So I gave Jim an Instant Pot that was secondhand and a secondhand Vitamix, and it's made a huge difference in his cooking skills. So, Fran, what else do you use? I mean,
think about the simple daily items that you use, like a garlic press, a citrus press, spiralizer. Yep. I mean, it's a great way to get zucchini in, to spiralize your zucchini, to make noodles with it. With the air fryer, the Bullet or the Breville, I use Silpat sheets in there, and I think that's instead of using parchment paper, but parchment paper is another super key thing to have.
Yep.
But they're not.
And then look at, if you can't, if budget doesn't allow for the Vitamix or a Blendtec, look at the Bullet.
The NutriBullet. NutriBullet, or even the Ninja. I started with the Ninja. That was the first thing that Nick and I bought. Was the big thing was the Vitamix, but we had a Ninja already, and so we the Ninja for probably the first few months, and then QVC had the Vitamix on sale with the easy pay, no interest, and I was like, oh, I whipped out that credit card quick, and I bought it, and it's love it. So a Ninja or a NutriBullet are also very good to have if you have one, and if you don't, buy one.
Yeah, and I mean, even the NutriBullet from a single serving or a salad dressing, I mean, you can almost have both of them.
Oh yeah.
Because you know, the high-speed blenders, their blender container quite often won't blend a small portion.
Right.
You know, so I mean, even if you get the bullet and then you upgrade to a Vitamix or Blendtec, the bullet is still usable for small things.
Yep.
Right. Another good thing too is I just thought is, you guys see back there on my counter in that light thing, those are essential oils. That's something that I had not really educated myself on. And my good friend I went through menopause during my real early 50s, about 51, 52, I'm 56. And my friend Mary Beth, she started in menopause later than me because she had a hysterectomy and was doing bioidentical hormone therapy, just a really small amount. But nature's going to take over. And when she was going through menopause, even the bioidentical hormones was messing with her. So she really dove headfirst into essential oils. And I was like, oh yeah, I've heard about those, it's like, it's just another thing to learn about. But then I was like, okay, I got sucked in and I started learning about them. And I have found that essential oils are essential to overall good lifestyle maintenance. I call it lifestyle maintenance. I don't personally know how, I don't ingest them. A lot of people will ingest the food grade essential oils, but to me, oil's oil. I listen to these men right here, no oil. So I put the oil out into the air in a diffuser, and I love the calming aromas. And I love that I can put some on my hand and breathe it in. And when I'm at work, there's this one essential oil called Stress Away, and I'll just put that right on my hand and I'm breathing it in. It's outside of my office. It's getting real crazy. I'm like going like this, or I have my essential oil necklace, and I absolutely love essential oils. But again, I don't know the science behind them. I'm still learning, but it is something, as you can see my little bottles, to me, it's like a little treat. I'll reward myself if I, little non-scale victory stuff. It's like, oh, I'll just buy that essential oil, and that's my little reward program is the essential oils. Now, Fran's been doing essential oils longer than I have, and she might know more of the medicinal qualities of them, but I'm still learning.
Yeah, I use them sometimes topically when I'm traveling. You can use them as a bug repellent. There's really medicinal ways of using it to avoid medicines.
Do you guys do
I'll
the Terra ones or the other
Okay, I think I'm gonna leave now.
living life or whatever?
Bye, Pam.
I've got doTERRA. I think Nancy's got the living.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute myself for a minute.
I think they're both great companies. I really, I don't think you can go wrong with either company. But I'll also do like lavender on my temples when I'm feeling stressed. There's a deep blue that is really good for muscle tension that I'll put on the back of my neck. So I think, minimally, I'm not lathering my body up with them, but I use them instead of medicine.
Right. And the other thing is too, we want to get wrapped up here too, is they're so much better for the environment and for you, because any toxins that you put on your skin in personal care products that have parabens or any type of chemicals, you're bringing in just nasty stuff through your skin. Our skin is our biggest organ, and anything that you're using, hair products, makeup, you want it to be paraben free always, and use as many clean products. And that's a whole nother the next level of this lifestyle education, but just be mindful of it. And there's a website called EWG. So E is in Edward, W is in Wayne, and G is in George, EWG.org. Stands for Environmental Working Group. And you can go and put, like, say this was shampoo. and you would put the name of the shampoo into EWG, and it's going to give you a rating, and it's going to tell you if it is like a 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1 on its chemical load. So you want to just use like things that are EWG verified and or a 1, because they're going to have the less chemicals products for you to use. So, you want to really start thinking about those too. And when I started my plant-based journey, I wasn't thinking about any of that. My main focus was eat potatoes, eat starch, eat vegetables, and then you just learn with time. And as you're feeling better, you're learning more, your education grows, then you learn about essential oils, you learn about environmental toxins, you learn about commercially grown versus organically grown. And then we just start making better choices as we progress in life. That's what it boils down to. But the main thing is, in the first 30 days is we want to get people transitioned from the standard American diet, and we don't have to worry about the organic, because as soon as you stop the meat and the dairy from your diet, your body's going to begin to heal. And then we start working through what Dr. Greger's Dirty Dozen is, or not Dr. Greger's, but EWG, Environmental Working Group. You want to follow the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, and we can talk more about that. But the main thing is meat and dairy and processed food needs to go, and then we go from there. And one of the things that Fran and I are going to start doing is we're going to start having workshops and educational workshops in our homes, where we take and we'll have a topic, we'll do a workshop on it, and we can really start helping people dive into specific cooking with no oil, just lots of recipe development and education. And we're looking forward to getting that launched. So we're excited about that. Does anybody else have any more questions? And otherwise we'll wrap it up. And if anybody wants to start the 10-day challenge, message me, friend me, and we'll get you in the group. And then I'll have another video tomorrow on actually, I already did the video. I'll bring the video up into the group and make it an announcement, so you can watch that, because I actually went through and showed you how to use the group, how to find files, the discussion, the videos, the pinned post, and so I'll just refresh that within the group. So anybody else? All right. Well, I want to thank you all for joining today, and I hope that we answered some questions and you learned something, and we hope that you guys are seriously going to consider a plant-based lifestyle. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you.